Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Madol Shvi'i, seventh one. Seventh one, Tachtit Eretz. That's the name of it. Hayored lesham shuv eno ole. Someone who goes there does not go back up. It's permanent. Shenemar ve'asutem reshaim. Malachi 3:21. Ubazohar parashat Truma, in Zohar parashat Truma in 152. Page B. אמר שיש מקום בגיהינום והוא נקרא צוער או תחת. There's a place in Geinom and it's called boiling feces. ובו נידונים כל אותם שחטאו והחטיאו את הרבים. And there, those that sinned and caused other people to sin. One example we have in the Gemara Masechet Gitin is J.C. Penney. J.C. Penney is there. Onkelos in the Gemara, it says Onkelos, the Ger Tzedek that all of our commentary on the Tanakh comes from, before he converted, he did a seance and he brought J.C. Penney up along with Bilam and Titus. All of them are in the 7th level of Geinom. But nonetheless, that's exactly what J.C. Penney described as where he is. He's in his Tzohar Tachat. Why? Not only did he go against the rabbis, but he caused other people to leave Judaism. So all of those Christians that pray to them every single day, they should understand that their leader, their idol, their everything is sitting there in boiling feces. Who else goes there? Those that waste seed on purpose. They think it's healthy, like the psychiatrists that are idiots today tell you it's healthy, which, by the way, there's scientific research. Scientific research, this is not my opinion. Scientific research I could send you. It shows that when you waste seed, it not only hurts your body in general, it hurts your vision, it hurts your bone structure, it hurts your brain, it hurts multiple parts of your body. And I can tell you from experience, not that I'm anything special, but apparently in the last few years, since I spoke a lot about wasting seed and did some lectures on it, I ended up getting a lot of people to call me, religious, non-religious, Jews, non-Jews, to ask me questions about it. And I ended up a lot of people. I did a lot of research on it. And in so many words, at this point, it's almost at a point where I can look at you and tell you if you're wasting seed or not. There's certain young kids that I've seen batik nisiyot, and I know who's sick and who's not. Who's sick and who's not. Their skin structure is different. Their behavior is different. Unfortunately, it's an addiction. You can overcome it, but it's very difficult. But unfortunately, no one's going to overcome it if no one tells them it's wrong. How wrong is it? It's the worst sin in Judaism. It goes to the part of Geinom where if you do it on a regular basis, as if it's a good thing, as if you're enjoying it, as if whatever, it's not accidental on a dream. You're doing it on purpose, b'mezid. You're doing it, Shem Yirachem, 7th level of Geinom. Who else? Mi shechilel Shabbat befaresia. Someone who drives on Shabbat, smokes cigarettes on Shabbat, violates Shabbat on a regular basis, not accidental. If it's accidental, you forgot, you didn't know, it's one thing. But if you violate Shabbat because it's not for you, or you need to work because you need money, because Hashem doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any money, so you have to work extra to help him out. And you want to work on Shabbat, or you want to go to a restaurant on Shabbat, or you want to go to Atlantic City on Shabbat, or you want to go to Vegas on Shabbat. No, I'm not using money. I'm just playing with chips. It's chips, Rabbi. It's chips. It's plastic. Oh, it's plastic, so just throw it in the garbage then. It's plastic. If it's plastic, throw it in the garbage. People make all types of excuses and different types of things. No, they're allowed this, they're allowed this. There's no such thing. Where are you supposed to be on Shabbat? With your family or B'knesset. That's it. No casinos, no vacations, no nothing. You're supposed to be with your family on Shabbat. You're supposed to be in a kosher place. You're not supposed to be in all these different places. Number one, you're not allowed in a casino anyway. Not allowed in a casino anyway. Why? Because there's a lot of Chilul Hashem. There's a lot of immodesty there. You're not allowed to be in such places. Unfortunately, today's world, no one talks about these things, but if you look at the books, it says no. Now, someone that's a mechalel Shabbat on a regular basis, and not accidental, this is one of the three worst possible sins in all of Judaism, to such an extent that, as you can see, all of the worst things that we talked about, whether it's people that were hung by their eyes, by their nose, by their arms, by their legs, or they were eaten by worms, or they were being fed themselves, or they were being fed the sand, or they were being taking spears of metal and going through their sex organs, or they were taking their body parts and throwing it in fire, and you're still feeling it. All of that is child's play next to this person that's a mechalel Shabbat. It's Gan Eden for the mechalel Shabbat, for the wasted seed. All of those things I said till now that make all of you want to vomit, it's Gan Eden next to the seventh level. Do you understand what a mechalel Shabbat is? Do you understand why we say it in every lecture, even though everybody here, Baruch Hashem, keep Shabbat? Hopefully. They have a special place also. They're in a 6th level, some of them in a 7th level, depending on which one, how bad, who, what, when, and how. Yeah, they have also a special place also. They have a special place, but those such people usually don't get the merit of going to Geinom. They usually get stuck in kafakela. Why kafakela? Because people that usually are immodest or they're rapists and so on, they also do things, they're also homosexual. Now, homosexuals, before they have to have some serious merits in Torah to even get the merit of going to the 6th level of Geinom. Why? Because they have to get somehow out of kafakela. Now, kafakela for the homosexuals, first they have to go through certain type of suffering for there, but that's for just a single action. If they've done it many times, it's many things. Now, there's also the concept of gilgulim. They have to reincarnate. Now, the Zohar Kadosh and some of the other holy books say that there's several different types of gilgulim. We're not going to go through all of them. Obviously, just a few simple ones you should know. For all of those imbeciles that say that being intimate with a non-Jew is for practice, you should know that if you're intimate with a non-Jew and you have not done tshuva, your kafakela, before you actually get to suffer kafakela and Geinom and so on, first you have to come back as a dog. Now, anyone that's a homosexual, they think it's nice, they want to be proud of themselves, they have to come back as rabbits. Rabbits, hares, camels, those types of animals. And the women that like to show their stuff to the world, because that's the thing today. Before they get to the 6th level or the 7th level of Geinom, they have to go through a gilgul also. It's what? Cats. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this stuff and they don't believe it. That's your problem. It's not mine, Baruch Hashem. So, point is, this is all from the books. You want verses, I can give you verses. But nonetheless, the people that make sins need to understand is that there's no free lunch. Not for small sins, not for big sins, nothing. No free lunch. Now it goes into special angels. Special angels, there's actually the names of each one of these angels, of what they do and how they do it and who they punish and what they're in charge of. But I'll go through it in 5 minutes. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because obviously it's going to take a lot of time and it's late. And I think you guys got the point by now. Hopefully all of you understand that it's just simply not worth it to sin. That's the point of this entire shiur. It's simply not worth it to go against Hashem. The way that you're supposed to run your life is, okay, what does Hashem want? Okay, that's what I'll do. What does Hashem want? That's what I'll do. Honey, what do you want to do? What does Hashem want? Honey, what do you want to do? What does Hashem want? That's what I'll do. How do I dress? What does Hashem want? Modest? Okay, I'll be modest. What does Hashem want? Be kosher business, kosher business. That's the way the kosher mind works. Why? That's how you avoid Geinom. That's the only way. The only way. Because even then, you're still going to make mess ups here and there. But at the very least, if you're not going to make as many, Baruch Hashem, it's going to be tshuva. You're going to have enough time to do tshuva for the mistakes you're making. But if you don't stop making mistakes, there's no hope for you. So, this is some of the angels and what they do. By the way, the angel that Shobeh Einav, the one that breaks the eyes in the grave, his name is Sarsul. That's his job. Usually it's not good to say names, but for the sake of this show, so you know I'm not just telling you that there's some names that I'm making up off the top of my head. So those that are immodest in their clothing, immodest in their behavior, the guys that want a different girlfriend every other day, the guys that cheat on their wives, the women that cheat on their husbands, the women that are promiscuous, all of those people that think that being immodest is just a part of life. You know, you have 15 boyfriends before you got married. You have 20 husbands before you got married. All of those people that think it's okay. Why? I'm only 25. I only have 15 boyfriends. What's the big deal? Oh, no, I don't want my daughter to get married. She's only 30. She's only 25. I don't want her to get married. She's too young. All these idiot fathers that don't want their kids to get married, they want them to date someone for a while. So you should know the special things for them. What do they do to them? They take these people, and since there's no enjoyment whatsoever in Geinom, and there's obviously no Yetzirah in Geinom, but they force them to make the same sins even in Geinom, but with pain. With pain. Those that were neuf and znut, all types of immodesty, all types of inappropriate actions, promiscuity, and so on, they literally make them make the same sins against their will in Geinom. And there's the name of the angel here that puts them into that, puts them to do it. Shem Erachem. If you see some of the visuals of some of this stuff, I mean, there's no pictures here, but I know. There's also special types of snakes and scorpions that eat the soul. Not just the body, the soul. Whatever that means. All of those people that like to curse, because that's how we talk in New York, and I used to talk in the stock market. כל דברי נבלות או דבר פגום שהוציא האדם בשפתיו ושומרים אותה, וכאשר האדם מוציא מפיו דברי קדושה כמו דברי תורה או תפילה, אז מטמאים אותם הדברים הקדושים בטומאה ההיא שהוציא מפיו קודם לכן. ואז כביכול תשש כוח הקדושה, ואז אוי לו, אוי לנפשו של החוטא ההוא. A person that curses from the same mouth that he prays, a person that curses from the same mouth that he learns Torah, says, Oy lo and oy lenafsho. Woe to him and woe to his soul. What they do to him for violating his mouth that way. That same pure mouth that said Divrei Torah, that said the name of Hashem, you like to say the F word, you like to call your wife certain names, you like to call your friends certain names, you think it's cute, you think it's funny, you want to be a truck driver, you want to be a football player. Okay, you have a certain place. There's a certain angel designated for them too. I'm not going to tell you the names anymore, though. Just so you know, when it talks about that every time somebody is angry, it's considered avodah zarah, they actually explain it here in Reshit Chochmah. It means as if you literally brought a korban, to the Satan. You took korban, you brought it to Satan. Why? You got angry, you threw out the remote, you threw the phone across the room because your wife forgot to buy you tomatoes. Your wife, can't quiet the kids. Your wife did this, you got mad, you did something, you expressed your anger inappropriately. Being upset is one thing. Expressing it in certain ways is something completely different. It's considered as if somebody literally brought a korban to the Satan himself. And just for all those people that still are not convinced of the sin of wasting seed, they should know that their particular section is called a Shichvat Zera Rotachat. They swim, instead of swimming in boiling feces, they swim in boiling semen. Boiling semen, and all of those people that make sex crimes, whether it's molesters or prostitutes, all of that, they have a special angel designated for them to burn them in the semen and all of the disgusting stuff that they produced. They have them while they rip them into multiple pieces. Okay, so I think we're almost done. Thank you. Which one's the right one? Take this one. Even the camera's clear. Camera has been tshuva, Bezrat Hashem. Camera said, okay, I've had enough for tonight. So all of those, the ones that you asked about, the ones that have all these sex crimes, the ones that violate little boys, little girls, big boys, big girls, animals, family, friends, workers, all of them, they have a special place in the 7th level of Geinom, and they'll never come out. They have a special section called Zera Rotachat. Zera Rotachat is literally boiling semen, whatever that is. Hashem Yirachem if it's the 7th level. This is, again, on top of all the other things we talked about. It's not just this. Meaning each level is all the other ones before it too. Each level is all the other ones. It's not like, oh, okay, you know what, I ran, it's a pool. Sounds like fun. It's not, how bad can it be? It gets worse. We're almost done. Chilul Hashem also, 7th level. I think we said it, didn't we? That's the third thing. If someone, their punishment just begins at dying. Also, one of the horrible things is for those that were jealous, for those that, one of the different details of punishment, the bones inside, are on fire, the person's on fire. So in essence, their flesh looks as if it's okay, but in reality they're on fire inside. They're like literally an oven. There's a special angel in charge of killing children and suffocating them. It's literally, it's just you read some of this stuff, you're like, Hashem Yirachem, this, and I understand what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying. What is this place? They're putting all types of knives and all types of cutting up, and it's awful. It's just awful. I tell you, I'm not even telling you all this stuff. I'm telling you a lot, Baruch Hashem. And may Hashem, Bezrat Hashem, wake us up. Wake us up. Because I can tell you just for myself, I don't know, I was studying this stuff, I was crying. I don't know. If this doesn't wake a person up, just check your pulse. You're probably already dead. Maybe you're one of the Malachim Chabbalah. Maybe you're one of these angels that kill people. I don't know. I asked the same question. This is not just a nobody. This is Rabbi Yaron Reuvin. You know, Rabbi Yaron Reuvin was the student of the Arizal. Okay? And also the student of Rabbi Moshe ben Yaakov Cordovero. These are the two biggest Kabbalists in the last pretty much ever since Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. This is their Talmid. This is not some guy that no one heard of. It's not like somebody's, we don't follow him. We don't hold by him. There's no such thing. It's no different than saying Vilna Gaon. It's no different. Somebody said one time, listen, you say Rav Ovadia, you say Moshe Rabbeinu, to me it's the same thing. Why? I don't have the idea of how great this one is, just like I don't have an idea of how great that one is. But either way, you know they're both great. Same here. This is almost 500 years ago this book is written. One of the books that I'm telling you over here. Rabotai, it's not a joke. I'll finish off with a few small things over here that I don't think we covered, so might as well, instead of having another shiur, I think we pretty much covered. Oh, and just so you know, for all those guys that think that a Gilgul, that reincarnation is like, you know what, I'll come back as a dog. I'll come back as a cat. I'll come back as a bunny. Sounds cute. You should know that the suffering of having a neshama inside a dog, inside a cat, inside a camel, inside a plant, inside a rock, inside a wall, inside anything but a human being is worse than Geinom. What is it like? The Chachamim give an analogy. In Or Yakar Mishpatim says that imagine there was a person that traveled with all of his merchandise. He had a lot of merchandise. He put his whole everything on the line. He's bought merchandise. And he traveled for 2 years. 2 years he's traveling, carrying this thing on his back. Hashem Elachem, what kind of suffering that is. Carrying this thing on his back for 2 years to get to a destination point. He finally gets to the destination point after 2 years. They tell him, what'd you bring this garbage for? Here it's worth 0. Here, everything you carried on your back for 2 years Le'avdil 70 years, 100 years, 120 years. Here it's worth 0. That's a gilgul. That's the suffering. Why? Because now he has to go back all the way to where he was, another 2 years. And if he wants to make any money, another 2 years. Do you understand? So this is a gilgul. This is a reincarnation. It's suffering above suffering. Because you thought you had it right. You got to Shamayim and said, no, you have to do it all over again. What do you mean? Okay, so I'll do it as a Jew. No, you can't do it as a Jew. You have to do it as a bunny now. You have to do it as a dog. And that's how these creatures are part of the tikkun. But the problem is that you don't always necessarily have an easy tikkun. Why? Sometimes a person can come back as a rock. Sometimes a person has to come back as a rock. The Ben Ish Chai tells the story that when they arrested him, he prayed to Hashem and he said, Hashem, why did you bring me here? And then he had a dream. He had a dream and they told him in Shamayim, you came here, the whole thing of you being arrested was because there's a few souls inside the wall of your cell. The only way they could do a tikkun is by listening to your Torah. Listening to your Torah. Listening. Why? Because they didn't want to go to Shiur Torah. They wanted to learn, whenever they felt like it. So, being a gilgul, it's not fun in games. It's not a fun thing. It's not it sounds like fun. I'll be a dog. My dog has a good life. That's what I used to say. I used to look at my dog. I had my dog 16 years. Greatest life ever. I thought, wow, what a life this guy has. Now I know. I read these things. I'm like, Shem Echem, what kind of suffering they have. Because the soul doesn't feel like a dog. The soul is the soul of a human being. It knows it's a human being, but the dog is a dog. And Rav Shani actually has talked to a few shiurim, talks about these gilgulim and all of these things where he saw it in his own eyes. He saw it in his own eyes where his father showed, look, this cat is the soul of the neighbor that died just a little while ago. And I'm going to help him and so on and so forth. And you see strange things. Nonetheless, this stuff is real. Nonetheless, this stuff is painful. It's just not worth it to sin, Rabotai. It's not worth it to sin. We'll finish off with a couple of small things and then hopefully try to finish it with something to cheer you up. So, as I said, Rabbi Yaron Reuvin is telling us 3 gates to Geinom, the ocean, the desert, the land, Yerushalayim is 5 different types of fires. Cover this already. Rav Ovadia Bartanura says that in regards to the punishment, depending on the level of punishment, some get punished with the klal, with many, and some are so awful they get a private punishment. And even the Ramban Nachmanides, in his commentary on the book of Job, he says that the biggest suffering we've seen in the Torah is the life of Job. And even the biggest suffering of Job, the worst type of suffering that he had, even if you had that suffering for 70 years, has no comparison to the suffering of a soul for a single hour in the lowest level of Geinom. The best part, even the worst type of suffering for 7 years is still not the same level as an hour over there. And the Vilna Gaon says the Ramban was actually understating it. It's actually worse than that. It's actually worse than that. A handful of things that cause people to go to Geinom on an easy basis. Mamash, like people just destroying their lives without even realizing they're doing something wrong. Being prideful. Talking to women that are not your wife. Being a jokester. Making fun of things. Being, one of these funny guys that likes to make a joke. In the middle of a shiur Torah, when everyone's in the process of doing tshuva, he wants to throw a shiur and, make things fun. I used to have a couple of these talmidim. I threw them out. In different shiur in Boca Raton, they used to make fun. I told them not to come anymore. Why? Everybody was doing tshuva for 2 hours, then one of these idiots ruins the shiur with his joke. People that curse a lot, people that kiss up. People that like to kiss up to people because they have money, because of certain things, they want a job. It's not a good thing to do. What keeps the fire of Geinom continuing, the heat of Geinom, is created by new sins in this world. It's created by every sin that's made in this world is in essence like the heat of, it's making the heat of Geinom higher. But the fire, where's the fire come from? The fire in the Gemara Masechet Chagiga says the fire comes literally from the angels themselves. The angels themselves that serve Hashem. They go in Shamayim. You actually read this. As a matter of fact, you read this every night, unless you, if you pray in the minyan. But if you pray by yourself, you read this. There's a bereta. There's a bereta that you read that a very famous bereta from Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva אמר, חיה אחת עומדת ברקיע ושמה ישראל וחגו מצרה ישראל ועומדת באמצע הרקיע ואומרת ברכו את השם מבורך וחוק בידי מעלה עונים ואומרים ברוך השם מבורך לעולם ועד. So Rabbi Akiva says there's a chaya, there's a special angel that Hashem made that his name, it's Israel, and it's imprinted on its forehead Israel, and it stands in the middle of the heavens, middle of the sky, this giant thing, and it says to everyone, bless Hashem. Bless Hashem, bless His name. And all of the other angels said, blessed is Hashem. That's His job. Now all of these chayot, they get close to Hashem, they sweat. What do they sweat? They sweat fire. Where's the fire go? It goes to Geinom. That's where it goes. So the heat up of the Geinom is from sins, but the fire itself comes from the angels. Now every time a person says a Kaddish, every time people say, no, you should do Kaddish on someone. You should do Kaddish on someone. It's helpful, but only helpful to a certain extent. Only helpful to a certain extent. Now the Pele Yoetz says that if you're contemplating whether you should do Kaddish for someone or not, you should do it. Why? Because this person that died is like screaming to you like a dog. Please do Kaddish for me. Any type of help would be good. It doesn't take a person from the 7th level to the 6th level or anything, but it helps. Anything will be good. A moment, 5 minutes of less suffering is good. Sure, that's even more so. That's every second you're learning as Torah is amazing. So we'll finish off with this, Rabotai. The Gemara Masechet Tamid, Eliyahu Navi says the Geinom is in the Rakia, but some say it's beyond the darkness. This in essence is referring to there's two types of Geinom. Now, the Jewish Geinom is much worse than the Goyim Geinom. And the reason why is because our benefit, our reward is much greater than the Goyim as well. Source for that is Bereshit Rabbah 93:10. Now, Rabotai, there is a Bereta from Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. And he says the following: Oy lanu miyom adin, oy lanu miyom hatochecha. Woe to us from the day of judgment, woe to us from the day of punishment. Because even Bilam, the wisest among all of the Goyim, he was a prophet. He couldn't accept a simple rebuke from his donkey. But even us, the tribes, the 12 tribes, weren't able to face Yosef HaTzadik when he told them, I am Yosef. As it's written, "Velo yachlu achav la'anot oto ki niv'alu mipanav." They couldn't answer him because they were scared. What does it mean they were scared? They all died from shame. This is the only part of the whole issue that talks about shame. But the Chachamim say this is not about rebuke of a rabbi. This is not the rebuke of some book. This is a rebuke of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we go up to Shamayim. And He Himself will come to you. And He Himself will tell you, why'd you do it? Why'd you go against me? As it's written in the book of Psalms, Psalm 50, verse 21. These have you done, and I kept silent. You thought that I was like you. What does it mean you thought I was like you? You thought just because I'm not punishing you, I agree that you're violating Shabbat. Just because I'm not punishing you, I agree with your actions. You thought I was just like you, I was a sinner like you. But I will now punish you and lay it clearly before your eyes, meaning I'll show you every single sin right before I punish you. Then the next verse, Rabotai, says this. Understand this now. This is what the verse itself says. Understand this now, you who have forgotten God, lest I tear you into pieces, and there be none of you to rescue. This is Tehillim, Rabotai. This is not some midrash. This is not mystical. This is literal. If you haven't read it, Baruch Hashem, it's time you have. That's the point of the shir. Now, Hashem himself is telling us. He's telling us it's not a joke. He's telling us it's not a game. He's telling us you sinned and you thought that it was okay because I didn't punish you. You drove on Shabbat, you went to this, you did this, and you thought it was okay. It's not okay. No, now. Now, no. Tshuva today. Every day, right now, everybody go home. Everybody watches shiur today, tomorrow, next year, next month, wherever it is. You do tshuva today. Today you do tshuva. Don't wait till tomorrow. Today already go chatanu, avinu, pashanu. Today you do tshuva. Why? Because if you don't, there may be nothing to save. Now, last chidush to give you a concept of how important tshuva is. Hashem is supernatural. You and me are natural. Death is natural. It's a natural event for all of us. Everyone that's lived died. Everyone that's alive will die. Resurrection of the dead is supernatural. Supernatural. In the Torah, someone that's righteous is considered alive. Someone that's wicked is considered dead. Even while they're alive in this world, they're still considered dead in the eyes of Hashem. The chidush is, Rabotai, when you do tshuva as a human being, the only way you can do tshuva is stick to Hashem. And when you do tshuva, in essence, you're doing something that's supernatural. And the reason why it's supernatural is because you're literally reviving your soul. We were dead as sinners, and we're alive as Baalei Tshuva. I don't care about your past, neither does God. Avdi a zillion and a half of the Lord, but the point I'm trying to tell you is that no one cares about yesterday. Today, you do tshuva. Doesn't matter who your father is, your mother is, your neighbor is, your rabbi is, your this, your that. It doesn't make a difference. Today you do tshuva. Whatever it is that you're doing wrong, whatever it is that you're doing that's not in the Torah, that's not good, today you do tshuva. I know it's hard. Everyone knows it's hard. You got to do it anyway. Why? Consequences are too dear. But the beauty is that when you do tshuva, you're a superhero. Because you're literally doing something supernatural. You're bringing something that's dead and making it alive again. So it's a supernatural action by a natural person who made a decision to put the supernatural, to put Hashem in charge, to put Hashem in control. You're resurrecting yourself. Tshuva is good for you. No one gains more than you. And like Rabbi Yisrael Misalant, alav shalom and zchuto tagen aleinu, said, even if it was simply avoiding the fire of Geinom, and that was the reward itself and nothing else, it's still worth it to do tshuva, because the punishment is there. So Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have mercy on us and open our hearts to do tshuva, to overcome our Yetzirah, to overcome all of the evil inclinations that we have, and realize and visualize and understand how horrible it is to go against Him. Because once you open up the door and you start doing tshuva, Hashem does the rest. You're a natural doing something supernatural, and therefore the supernatural will take charge. And Be'ezrat Hashem, get us all to Gan Eden. So all of this will just be a simple shiur. It's a distant memory of bad things that could have happened but never did. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.